Fresh off a victory of Thursday Thunder. I think it was a weekend edition of that, but either way, we're 1-0 in our last one.
Nice.
3-leg parlay. Pacheco cash by going over 14.5 yards or 14.5 carries on the final carry.
Yeah, Juju crafted that, so let's hopefully here we have another winner. Thursday Thunder is presented by DraftKings Fantasy Sports.
Yeah.
Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code DAN, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Here's what Juju cooked up.
Yeah.
2 huge playoff games.
Oh.
1 destination. To be there in person at Stadium Swim
Yeah.
for weekend observations. That is the prize that everyone's eyeing.
We're doing
Who is
that
he?
live on a Thursday or a Friday?
So we'll have Vegas observations.
Yes.
Yes.
Already started working on it.
Really? We haven't even
Yes.
gotten to Vegas yet.
Yes.
Okay, what do you mean?
Vegas is
Impossible.
Vegas, Dan. It doesn't change.
But what do you mean? I don't understand.
You haven't observed anything yet.
I mean, you can't.
I've been there plenty.
Yeah. And no doubt, Rashad Bateman will be thinking he wants to be there at Stadium Swim when he goes over 23.5 yards. I like this one, Juju. I really do.
The whole thing? You like the whole thing?
Yeah, I like this whole thing. I think Juju's got a winner here, responsibly. Marquez, Valdez, Scantling, over 13.5 yards.
No, look, listen, I've lost $300
MVS.
there. No, all I need is a catch from him. I've lost every time I've made the bet. He's always at plus 17.5 yards. He never gets it.
He's due.
13.5 yards. It keeps going down because he's been 18.5 and 17.5 all season, and he stinks.
No, this one we should hit, especially if what they're saying is true about the weather
Angry at
conditions.
him.
Getting mad
He's
at
cost
him.
me $300 in those $50 prop bets every time I go over on him.
Are you saying he's never covered an over?
Not one. I need one catch possible.
He's certainly got one this season.
I am watching games rooting only for him to have a catch for 19 yards.
He had 62 yards last week.
I didn't bet him last week,
really?
did I? I'm done with him.
The good news is you're virtually guaranteed at least one drop back where Mahomes looks his direction.
Yes.
Whether or not he brings it down is another thing. Now, the weather conditions are actually shaping up for this last leg. We had success last week with the Pacheco rushing attempts over, and we're closing out this 3-leg parlay with another rushing attempt over. David Montgomery over 10.5 rushing attempts. So if the Lions are in that game in the second half, we should hit that. Or if it's sloppy like it's angling for right now, we should hit that too. David Montgomery over 10.5 rushing attempts to close our Thursday Thunder.
For those of you who may not be as familiar with gambling, a 3-team parlay pays a good deal of money, and Juju hit his last one. We've had a lot of losers, but now that Juju's in charge, Juju is not a loser, and it's a good person to put in charge of that. Amin and Charlotte are with
losers.
us now, and their show.
Talk about losers.
Speaking of losers, Oddball, you're coming from doing Oddball, which is every day except for Monday. What is it that you talked about the most? What is it that people should be going there to find that they cannot find anywhere else?
You know, Dan, today on Oddball, we talked about the lies coming from the Milwaukee Bucks organization. And if not lies, then just an inability to say it with their chest what they did and why they fired Adrian Griffin and replaced him with Doc Rivers. A lot of hedging going on.
Charlotte had a great line today about when you feel something or you do something, you just say it. You don't have to keep explaining and bringing extra kind of context to it, because the more you do it, the more you seem like Leslie Nielsen in Airplane, with your nose just growing and growing and growing.
I'm familiar with that.
As you tell everybody.
Over-explaining is bad, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you just say it, right?
Better to keep your lies with fewer details? I disagree with that. I think I think a lie
No.
needs more details.
No. I'm not saying a lie. I'm saying, so the Bucks organization, they fire Adrian Griffin, and then, and a lot of it, we talked about this yesterday, how Amin and I were saying, like, well, he lost the locker room. The reason that he's not there is because it wasn't working, but because people didn't trust him. So then John Horst, the Bucks GM, comes out and is like, oh, it didn't have anything to do with what the players were saying. It wasn't that. It wasn't that. And Giannis is like, I was surprised. And it's like, if you're going to do it, just say it. Just be like, yeah, it wasn't working. And then move on. You don't have to say a lot. Just stand by what you did.
All right. I was just having a different conversation with you guys with Lucy. I was not listening to you two
Yeah,
talk.
I noticed, Dan.
All right. So I'm going admit something
Emily
here.
box.
But I want people to know what just happened here because I just asked Lucy. I just asked her away from you guys, what is the best way to lie? And this was her answer. With a lot of details. She was whispering it to me. With a lot of details. And then she stops and is like, with no details. So she Lucy.
Good job, Lucy.
Yeah, I don't understand what just happened because I think it's best to lie with a lot of details.
Then
No,
you're a
she's
terrible
right.
liar, Dan.
I
Terrible lie.
misunderstood the question originally. And so I was like, well, I changed my answer. I feel like that's allowed. And I think the best way to lie is without details because the more details you use, the more likely you're going to get caught. Also, it's like, hey, you're trying to convince me of something. If you just say it like, not a lot with it, I'm not going to think you're lying.
Yeah. I'm just saying you have an expert sitting to your left.
Yeah.
You can ask him.
Why would you ask Lucy?
I already said, just be efficient with your
Oh,
lie.
no,
Yes.
but because he doesn't lie well. Mike Ryan says correctly, it's the most honest relationship he has. I always know when he's lying.
And
He's
the problem is I give too many details.
Stugotz is
That's the
not a good
problem.
liar.
Yes.
He's just a liar. He's
No.
not
Volume
good.
shooter.
I'm a
He's not
detailed liar.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's experienced though. He's not good, but he's experienced. And so in that experience comes some expertise.
veteran.
Yes.
Well, do we believe the Milwaukee Bucks to be lying?
Yes.
Yeah. What evidence do you have?
Oh, that
They
video.
gave way too
the
much
dancing
detail,
video.
and then they danced.
Yeah. Like, by the way, which was posted by who? Charlotte?
The Milwaukee Bucks account tweeted that out.
The official
That wasn't
Bucks
like a fan video. The Bucks were like, haha, we're psyched. Were the social media people that annoyed with Adrian Griffin too? It's incredible.
They're dancing on his grave.
I literally thought of two different things. I thought of the end scene of Return of the Jedi when the Ewoks are celebrating. And I also thought about Wizard of Oz when the Munchkins are celebrating the death of the Wicked Witch. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Sing it high, sing it low. Ding dong, the Wicked Witch is dead. That's what they're doing right
That
there.
is,
And then you
let
pan, and
me
there's this pair
let me
of red
explain to the audio audience only what we're presently witnessing because it is it's a ceremony ritual dance of some sort that there is fire in the background and this team won a championship. The happiest you have ever seen the Milwaukee Bucks. They are. Brooke Lopez has never looked that not stoic. Brooke Lopez has never been this happy to have anyone removed from his life. There is genuine joy from the Milwaukee Bucks because their coach has been fired after 43 games. That video is staggering as proof.
Cameron Payne is my favorite because he's like the ringleader of, hey, guys, dancing, that's kind of my thing. Everyone get behind me. We're going to do this. And everyone's just following along in this crazy train of celebration. But no, it had nothing to do with how the players felt.
Like,
Come on, dude.
We
No,
can see it.
So there was another part which did not come out, or it was not reported because it's something that happened earlier in the year. But apparently John Horst's dog is named after Adrian Griffin. And that led me down two very, very stark paths. Path number one, why would you say that, man? That just sounds so dumb. But two, I don't want you to name your pet after me. That's an insult. Your pet?
Put it on the
No.
poll at
Is it?
LeBatard Show. I think it's an honor. Put it on
An honor?
Let's
No.
see. At
No, no,
LeBatard
no, no,
Show.
no.
Having a pet named after you, is it an insult or an honor?
I had a cat once. His name was Schmitty. He died, but we named him after Bill Smith, the Islanders goalie.
Okay,
mean,
sport here.
It's a
I
tribute
think-
to
I-
Billy Smith.
I think
mean,
there's a difference.
Yes.
You can name like every dog in the New England region right now. Every golden retriever is named Tatum
Oh, I thought you was a Brady.
or Brady,
Yeah.
but they are starting to unfortunately pass away at this point.
Oh.
I do think though
Wow.
that there's a wave of that you can trace a wave of sports heroes based on animal names. I think it's different if you name a dog after someone you know personally.
Someone
which
you
is
know.
what John Horst, his dog's name was Otis, and this is according to Ramona Shelburne and Jamal Collier at ESPN. His dog's name was Otis. Then he got into an elevator with Adrian Griffin and was like, actually, you know what? My dog's name is Griff.
That's what I'm talking about. We're not talking about Stugotz. I'm not talking about naming your cat
Okay.
after
Right.
your favorite goalkeeper
Right.
of the 70s and 80s Islanders, right? I'm talking about someone you actually know personally.
Right.
So
That you
how
go-
do I
that you
have to
work
ask?
with.
Let me also ask the secondary poll question. Ask it your way, because in my way, it's going to come back with a certain result.
Yes.
Ask it the way that you would like to ask it to frame it as an insult.
Is it disrespectful to name a pet after someone you know personally?
And the thing that I wanted to bring up here as it relates to this particular story, because I'm sort of stunned what I'm watching now. And we have a lot of NBA insiders, a lot of people being paid a lot of money, but I don't actually know how deep this hatred runs. And the place that all the details come out is when you're no longer afraid that the coach has power over you. So then all the stories get told. What are we going to hear about what he was doing in the coaching of the Milwaukee Bucks that makes them dance on his grave like that in what looked like a ceremony of ritual religious celebration because their coach, after half a season, doesn't have his job anymore?
I don't know.
I can tell you who's probably going to get it, Chris Haynes.
But what are the details going to be? Do you understand what I'm saying? Lou Holtz has
Whatever Dame wants him to be.
You think Dame is the guy here?
It's Thanasis.
That's the key to it all. That's the key to it all.
Aren't you hearing rumors? As somebody who's like really close to the information of the NBA, aren't you super curious? This guy interviewed 14 times for this job and blew it in half a season.
Dan, I guess because I know what that looks like. I'm familiar with how you can blow it in half a season. So I don't think it's, to be honest with you, I don't think it's anything egregious. So yesterday, David Sampson came on and was like, it must have been something so awful. I'm like, no, it's not. What is like? Is it your first time in sports? Like, no, it's like, it's simple stuff. You walk it. I once had a player tell me, we lost, the coach lost us in the first huddle because when he held the clipboard, it was shaking like a spaghetti noodle. That's what they said. I'm like, dude, players will give up on guys for any number of reasons. And it's just, can you keep their attention and their respect more than anything?
Samson wants to let go of the reigning manager of the year.
For no reason.
I would love Amin and Samson to argue. Samson's about to come on with us. I would love for you and him to argue about it because I think
I argued about it with him yesterday.
I think Samson's so anti-labor that his management perspective is out of touch with the modern employee in sports.
Let's ask him and Adnan about movies instead.
I agree with that. I want to rip apart whatever list they come up with.
Shout out to Griffin Horst.
Go bleep your
Oh, not again.
Jesus.
No, come on, man.
What?
Damn it.
Well, I can't give you a countdown yet because Amin's presently watching the trailer for Roadhouse.
Can I finish it or should I
It starts with, do you have insurance?
Jake Gyllenhaal, yeah.
2.5 minute. Like,
No need to remake it.
You know what? I asked Lewis, you guys were talking about Roadhouse Remake, and I was hoping that Lewis was running on what it is you were saying, and he told me he wasn't because video. And we've got Samson and Adnan. We've got Samson and Adnan here, and I want you guys to include them because their movie takes are a bit highfalutin. And I want you guys to tell them how you feel about Roadhouse and the Roadhouse remake, because I suspect Samson will hate everything about Roadhouse.
Well, the trailer just dropped today, and there's a bit of news because there was a premiere, but the director boycotted the premiere because he felt betrayed by Amazon Prime. They promised him a theatrical release, according to this director, and it's premiering exclusively on Amazon Prime, so he's all heard about it. But I will say, kudos to you, director, because you cut one hell of a trailer. I mean, Roadhouse is a very high standard of a brand to live up to. And
Doug Liman is the director. He's one of my. Swingers is one of my all-time favorite movies. So I'm pro Doug Liman. To Mike's point, it's very important to filmmakers to have the theatrical release. That's why Christopher Nolan was so furious with Warner Brothers. Left them, of course, made Oppenheimer with Universal. So I appreciate where he's coming from. I know David hasn't been in the movies as much, but you appreciate the theatrical experience as well.
Yeah, I just don't know if directors actually cut the trailers.
Some do.
Totally separate business.
Yeah, it generally is. Paul Thomas Anderson cuts his own trailers, but you're right. Generally, it's somebody else doing it.
Well, either way, this director had a hand in something that is presenting pretty well, because I saw that trailer being a fan of the original, being skeptical about the direction this one's going in, and this one looks dope. I'm in. The trailer
is his name Dalton in this one as well, or is it
no,
new
it's a different.
They changed the name?
If I may, Charlotte, Lucy, Billy, do you care at all about what we're talking about here? Roadhouse, the movie.
He didn't even turn his mic on.
No, I mean, all of you are slumped in your chairs. Look, I'm worried about this segment in general.
It's an older movie. You can't
It
expect
is.
everybody to watch it, even
Classic.
though
It's a
action
classic,
movie
though.
classic.
Amin's right, yeah.
There's a torn trachea.
What's it about?
There's a trachea that gets ripped
Oh!
out.
Yeah.
And Patrick Swayze throwing amazing
Yeah,
kicks.
I do like Patrick Swayze.
You led with the trick. No, you got to lead with it. It's a guy. He's the best bouncer in America. apparently they have bouncer rankings, and so this rich guy who buys this bar, it's a rowdy bar, he hires this dude from New York City to Missouri to come be the head bouncer at his bar.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I'll watch it.
But there's a Yoda of bouncers who teaches the greatest bouncer on the planet how to be a better bouncer.
Are you guys messing with me?
I'm dead serious.
No.
This is actually
A Yoda of bouncers, yes.
And there's a rich guy in the town named Brad Wesley who's a real asshole. Yeah, you've gotten rich for a long time, all of these people. It's like, you're damn right.
Is that
and I'm
Ben-
going to get richer.
Is that Ben
It's
Gazzara?
his town.
Yes. Okay, this
Nice.
is a
Ben
funny.
Gazzara.
This is a funny story.
One of your favorites.
Well, it's not one of. This is my friend Boog Shambi insulted in the street Ben Gazzara because he shouted at Ben Gazzara as he walked by, "Hey, Ben Gazzara!" And Ben Gazzara's like happy to be recognized and pointing back at him. And Boog goes, "Loved you in Roadhouse," and he was joking. Like he was not. He was trying to insult him, and he did because Roadhouse is terrible. Like it's wonderful. What? It's wonderful.
Watch what you're saying.
But it's terrible. If you saw it right now, Charlotte, Lucy, you'd think that everyone in this room is really dumb.
No.
Already think that a little bit.
I mean, that's mean.
Yeah, it's a big dumb guy flick, and it was of the time. And Patrick Swayze can fill out a pair of jeans.
What was the Patrick Swayze one where he the surfing?
Point Break.
Point Break.
no.
I'll make you
Are you
famous.
really asking that question?
Charlotte,
Mike is bleeding from his ears right now.
Oh my goodness!
Believe you.
I can't.
believe
The remake too.
Bodhisattva.
The remake too.
How did we hire her?
Well, the remake was Fast and Furious. It just ripped off the formula.
I don't know either. I don't know what's going on.
Catherine Bigelow, Academy Award-winning
Ring a bell?
director.
before.
No.
I'm pretty sure she won for that movie.
By the way,
Point Break.
if you love Roadhouse,
Yeah.
Cinephobe episode 103, check it out.
Yeah,
File.
sometimes I do these things on the air where I just wax poetic about these movies, and it's a bit that's performative. Not for Point Break. Point Break legitimately is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's like top 3.
I love it too. I was messing with you guys.
I watched the new Mission Impossible the other day.
Was it good?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, why is everyone hating on this movie?
Samson, Adnan.
Oh, that's right. They're
Yeah.
here. Hi, guys.
Oh, yeah.
What's the dueling top 5s that we have today?
Well, this week were the Oscar nominations, and we touched on it a little bit in the local hour, but I wanted to give my top 5 things from the nominations that made me happy. And Adnan wants to give you the top 5 things that made him angry. And Adnan is such an angry movie guy who wishes he had votes in all parts of the Academy. So he's just a bitter bastard at the moment. But I left the nominations disappointed with a few things, but really happy about others.
All right, per our custom with this segment, David, you take pretty much the remainder of the segment, and Adnan rushes through his top 5 with 30 seconds left.
The top 5 things that made me happy about the upcoming Academy Awards. Number 5, Past Lives is a Best Picture nominee. I wish we had gotten a Best Actress nomination. I am very happy that people are going to watch this movie because you should. It's a movie about what happens when there's a chance that you could still be in love with someone who you used to know for a very short time, a very long time ago.
Excellent film. Shout out to A24, number 6 on my top 10.
Number 4, Coleman Domingo is nominated for Best Actor. This is major. It's a movie called Rustin. It's a true story. He is an openly gay actor playing an openly gay part in a story that no one knows about, what went on behind the scenes with the March on Washington. Everyone assumes it was Martin Luther King. As a matter of fact, Rustin had almost everything to do with it. It was almost his show. And the fact that this actor was recognized for the role he played, not since Ian McClellan, Gods and Monsters. It just doesn't happen often, so that made me happy.
Excellent actor, excellent performance. The scene where Dr. King gives Rustin props near late in the film is as good as it gets from Domingo. Excellent.
Number 3, I am thrilled that Sterling K. Brown gets to go to the Oscars as a nominee. You may know him from This Is Us. I may know him from This Is Us. I am thrilled that he is getting props in acting. There were some people left out in supporting actor, including Willem Dafoe. But that said, having Sterling K. Brown there makes the entire award show worth watching for me, including Justin Hartley getting the post-CBS show, by the way, after the Super Bowl. It is a This Is Us revival.
American Fiction, number 4 in my top 10. Really happy for Sterling K. Brown. Even happier for Jeffrey Wright. First ever Best Actor nomination for him. He's great in the movie as well.
Is he better in that movie than Source Code?
I would say yes.
Number 2. I am very happy that both Naiad actresses got recognized. There's a lot of problems in these categories. People are upset, but Jodie Foster in Supporting Actress from Stealing Home and The Accused, you know Jodie Foster. And then Annette Bening, my favorite, Warren Beatty's wife, but most importantly from Bugsy and all sorts of unbelievable movies. Annette Bening, Best Actress. So Naiad is a movie you should see about a woman who's crazier than I am, who kept trying to swim the English Channel and finally made it at an age that's older than even me and Le Batard.
Wow.
Forgive me for
perfectly
just a second.
decent movie. Not a great film, but the 2 nominations are definitely deserved, especially Jodie Foster. She's excellent as a very understated supportive coach.
All right, so these guys, they badly want to live in this space where they just go back and forth on they love this. They love this so
Dan,
much.
the list was humming.
Yeah.
We're going to run out of time.
What are you doing? I
You
mean,
can't preamble in the middle of
No,
it.
the only reason I'm doing a preamble is how do we let Charlotte skate on not knowing that?
Dan.
She was
seen
joking.
them. I've seen them.
It was a troll
Yeah.
because
Come on.
naturally
It was a
no
You
one-
had your headsets on.
no one has
She
missed
knows what we're
this
talking
90s
about.
cinematic
Yeah, yeah.
master.
Boo,
She knows
Le
what he's
Batard.
pointing.
I even saw
You don't
the
get this
remake.
show.
She knows the Bodhi's
Not
Alpha. I
terrible.
mean, come on.
Yeah,
Is
keep
a
your headsets
preamble
on.
in the middle just an amble?
That's right.
It is
Yeah.
Like Dan
You
does
suck,
that.
Le Batard.
To the penalty box.
Number 1, David.
The number one thing that makes me happy is Paul Giamatti not only was nominated for The Holdovers, my favorite movie of the year, but the son of the former commissioner, the one who suspended and got rid of banned Pete Rose, Paul Giamatti is going to win, spoiler alert, his first Oscar as Best Actor in The Holdovers, and that makes
I really hope he wins. It's his first ever Best Actor nomination. He was previously nominated for Cinderella Man in Supporting. As Amin knows, since he follows my Instagram, I met Paul Giamatti last Sunday at the Critics' Choice Awards, and he was awesome. We talked about Barney's version, Win Win, which are 2 films that I love. I did not mention Abe Bartlett Giamatti. He does not want to talk about baseball. He does not want to talk about Pete Rose, but he's an awesome guy and one of my favorite actors. I couldn't agree more with Samson. I was elated that Paul Giamatti's nominated. I think Cillian Murphy's still the favorite because everyone's seen Oppenheimer, and Oppenheimer's going to win Best Picture and Best Director. But if the SAG award goes to Giamatti, I'm with David. I think Paul might have the edge. I was elated. I love Paul Giamatti.
And I'm just curious from the Critics' Choice Awards, when you chose which selfies to post, we talked about this on the show last week, and I'm just curious, did you think that photo with you and De Niro was a good photo, or did you realize that he did not want any part of it?
What happened is Ben Lyons, it says to me, here's your De Niro moment. Bob was walking out, and I said, I've got one moment here just to say, hey, Bob, how are you? And he shook my hand, and that was it. So that was not a staged photo. That was Ben capturing an action shot. If you took it a few frames previous, you would have seen the warm smile on his face. It was a wonderful moment.
A record 2 minutes left for Adnan's top 5.
Thanks, Stu. All right, number 5 biggest snub. Still, a Michael J. Fox movie not nominated for Best Documentary.
Wow.
I haven't seen all the docs yet, but this is the documentary most people have seen. Michael, I can't believe signing it right now. I can't believe that Michael J.
Haven't seen
Fox
that one.
and Davis Guggenheim, who directed it, did an Inconvenient Truth, was not recognized, at least as a nominee. Surprising. Number 4, Margot Robbie snub for Best Actress. I didn't love Barbie, okay? I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. I see nominations for production design, etc. after I saw it. Screenplay, sure. But I didn't say to myself, this film should win Best Picture. But if you're going to nominate for Best Picture, how the hell do you not nominate the woman playing Barbie? Margot Robbie, I know, still gets credit as a producer, but to nominate Barbie herself is ridiculous.
The biggest snub was Greta Gerwig, not
No,
Margot Robbie.
I have no issue with that because number 3 is Alexander Payne should have been nominated for Best Director, not Greta Gerwig. That's my number 3. I like the fact they included some other names. Jonathan Glazer, The Zone of Interest. Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall. 2 excellent films, 2 foreign films. So I like the fact to get some more names in there. Gerwig gets enough love because she's nominated for screenplay. Payne should have been nominated. He didn't write the script for The Holdovers. He should have been nominated for Best Director. He got snubbed. Number 2, Leonardo DiCaprio for Killers of the Flower Moon, not nominated. How do you have a movie? The Killers of the Flower Moon got 10 Oscar nominations, but Best Actor Leonardo DiCaprio misses out. So apparently everything was great about it except for DiCaprio. It gets a Best Supporting Actor nomination for De Niro, his first in 12 years. It gets a Best Actress nomination for Lily Gladstone. Marty's nominated for Director, but apparently it acted itself. DiCaprio not necessary for Best Actor. Ridiculous. And number 1 biggest snub, No Martin Scorsese for Best Adapted
Oh,
Screenplay.
Jesus Christ already.
Absolute
No.
outrage. Now, here's the good news. 10 seconds? Fine. Scorsese becomes the most nominated living director today. More Academy Award nominations than Steven Spielberg. But to not be nominated for the screenplay, they adapted David Grain's book. He and Eric Roth. Originally, DiCaprio was going to play the FBI agent. He goes, actually, no, I want to play his nephew. They rewrite the entire script. They're telling the